I'm muted. How about that? Is that better? Is that good? Let me know. Nothing? Let me try and get this. Is that better? There we go. Okay. So, video literally just came out on the new purchase. So, if you guys are going to hop over there, I totally understand. But I am working on finishing that video up right now. So, if you guys Uh, sorry, I'm trying to multitask on like 4 different screens right now. But so if you guys are going to hop off the stream, I totally understand that. But if you guys want to stick around, I will be talking quite extensively about it. So I'll give you guys like a whole bunch of behind the scenes and stuff like that. And as you can see, I did get a haircut. So um, let me finish this up here real quick. You guys can go ahead and start posting your questions down below. I just got a couple of things on here I need to do. Okay, we will drop that there, do that. Go over here. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, what the new purchase is a Fast 8318 applicator. So it is a 17 row applicator, 1800 gallon tank. Does have the John Deere rate controller on it, the John Deere 2000 rate controller, so the new style rate controller. It does have a Ace hydraulic pump on it. I believe there was a couple different options for pumps. Our dealer recommended the Ace pump over the High Pro. I believe High Pro and Ace were the only two options on it. It has Y drops instead of colders. So most of you guys know what I'm talking about as far as anhydrous side dress applicator for liquid. It's either a single disc colder blade with a nozzle to a direct inject right into the slot that the colder blade makes, or there's a knife. Literally, say this is the colder blade. There's a literal knife right behind it, and knifing it into the ground. So that is, we went with a different route on instead of using a colder blade, we went with Y drops. So that is a totally different look on applying our nitrogen program. Basically, this is going to be what we feel a more efficient way to apply our not only our nitrogen, but we are actually going to be doing thiazole with it, so liquid sulfur, along with micronutrients. So we're going to be which we actually talked with our Helena rep last. The applicator actually came in last Tuesday, and with everything going on, I just haven't had time to put out a video on that. But our Helena rep came around, would have been Thursday or Friday, to basically introduce us to their new summer intern. And then he wanted to go around and actually look at the applicator because he follows me on Facebook and stuff like that and YouTube, and wanted to check that out. And I was just coming back from getting a box of beans for a customer over at Hamlet, and so I just caught the tail end of the conversation. But he also wanted to swing by and talk to us about doing the tissue sampling, because we actually started. I think they started last year tissue sampling. Their tissue sampling program, and we jumped on that. I think. Well, no, did they? They might have been 1 year into it, probably. I believe last year, and we started in on it just because we thought there would be a greater benefit to doing the tissue sampling. So we tried that out on a few fields. I think we did we did the 40 on the corner. We did the big irrigator field. We did both fields on shins. Well, there's 3 fields on shins: the Veal Barn, the Porter field, and the Twin Church field. We did the Twin Church field and the Porter field only because both of those we were doing high management fertilizer programs, such as, a lot of that goes through basically fertigating. So we do, I think we were doing about we did 2 applications, 2 fertigating applications. Both of those were just straight 28. Last year we didn't actually do any 2004 mixes just because basically to take stress off of our co-alliance dealer. I know it kind of sounds weird that we didn't want to bother a co-alliance dealer, but we just knew how swamp co-alliance was to begin with. And we're good friends with our co-alliance rep. He's been actually up there basically since Chester's started. So it's really cool to work with them real close on stuff like that. And now that they have the facility that they have over at Malden, we shouldn't have any issues at all calling them up and saying, hey, this is what we need, or we're going to go over there and get this. And basically it's just show up and get it. It's supposedly supposed to be a 24/7 facility. We have not put that to the test yet. I imagine when side dressing rolls around, we are definitely going to be putting that to the test. I'm really excited to see how it works. I guess you could say after hours, because I don't know for sure about how the whole 24-hour facility type deal works. I've heard it's like a hang tag deal. At least that's what Dad and I have been told. It's a hang tag deal. I don't know. From what I probably have shown in the videos, you guys probably all like over west and stuff, over in Illinois or stuff, or even down south that have facilities like this in southern Indiana and stuff, or in different parts of the country. We're not used to having a facility like that. I mean, the facility at Chester's was somewhat like this. I've only been to the facility over at Chester's like twice when we got fertilizer. When we went and got fertilizer with the tanker, basically it was all by weight. So there was no legit way to determine how many gallons were actually being pumped into the tanker at one time. So, which I didn't really understand why they didn't have a mass flow valve there, basically to say, this is how much we're metering into you. It was all done by weight. So, but now over there, they've got a whole flow meter there, basically right there at the end of the hose, telling you, okay, this is what we're pumping into you, product by product. So say with the 22703S, they're putting in so much 10340 and so many other products in there to basically blend out the 22703S for our starter. So, but yeah, so that is stuff like that. That's going to be really cool to see on how they can do stuff like that. So basically on the issue though that they have over there, I was talking with the guy when I pulled in on the last load. I caught him on one of their busier mornings, and I had to wait. I would say total in and out time was close to an hour, because when I got there, Bay 1 is what we fill out of. 2 and 3 are for the tenders and for tankers. So the pumps there, they've got one pump, one for 3-inch, and basically the same inch. Basically, it's just a valve there. They switch. Actually, no, sorry, 2 pumps. Well, no, he never really would say, because I know for a fact he said there was one pump, but I don't know if it's all I imagine it's all based off of one valve. Yeah, it should be all based off of one. Basically, they just switch a valve and bypass over into 2-inch, or switch over into 3-inch. So basically, I had to wait, and I asked him, I'm like, so what's the deal? He's like, well, we only have one pump. I'm like, you have one pump, but you got 3 bays. He's like, yeah. He's like, it was just poor design on their part. So he's got a whole list. I don't know. He told me like about that long, and take the upper management and say, this is what we need to change, and this is what we need to fix. And because I had to wait when I pulled in after the nurse trailer left, it was like 1,600 gallon nurse trailer, 2-inch plums. So I had to wait for 2-inch to get filled. And he goes like, well, at least you made it in. I'm like, well, what's the deal? Oh, we only got one pump. I'm like, oh. He's like, yeah. He's like, at least you made it in though, because you're gonna have to wait on a tanker, 6,000 gallons, get pumped into that, and then two 2,500 gallon tender loads for co-lines to move out. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna be here a while. He's like, yeah, so I guess you can just hang out here for a while. But yeah, so stuff like that. They really should have a pump for each bay, but they'll get that figured out because this is basically a whole trial run for them and stuff like that. So um, it is a really sweet facility though, in and out. So yeah, so but yeah, so back to or starting on the questions here. How far are you away? How far are you from Purdue? So are you talking Penny Purdue? Or are you talking PNW or PNC up at Westville? Or are you talking Purdue down at West Lafayette? Which Purdue are you talking about? And also, I guess there's a Purdue down in Vincennes too. So Fair Oaks, about an hour, I would say. About an hour. I've been there multiple times. I've actually have talked to, I wouldn't say a local guy. He's down from, oh, whereabouts is he located? He's down in Monticello, and he actually does some custom applicating work. He actually called me the other day wanting to do some spraying for us. I'm like, dude, we do all of our own spraying. You know that. It's like, I know you're just trying to gain some more business, but we do all of our own spraying. So it's kind of like, why, would we pay a custom? And he actually offered to do it for free, which I was actually kind of surprised about. But we actually had all of our burn down done. So really there was no need for him to come in and spray. And plus he was only going to be here for like a 2-day window, I guess, which I was surprised coming all the way from Monticello all the way up to the north side of LaPorte. I'm like, geez. But I guess when you're a custom applicator, you do what you got to do. And we got Eli on here. How's it going? When will I be on Corn Warriors? I don't know. I guess when I'm cranking out 600 plus bushel corn. But I heard Corn Warriors, Randy Dowdy and Dave Dula left. So that'll be. I quit watching it after this year. There was just. It was in my. After like this year's season, I guess you could say, or this year's show, it wasn't as good as previous episode or previous seasons, and I just quit watching it. So I don't know. So I just wasn't a big fan of it after this year. So I didn't watch it. But yeah, Farm Life. I got to go check the PO box here. Probably should have checked it today, but I just didn't have time. So when Jacob, when are they bringing the 8RX up to my place? I don't care. 410 or 370, I don't care. I'll still put the 8530 to nothing, putting that alongside the 8530. Holy cow, that's like nothing. Come on, tell them to bring it up. Oh. So are we underwater up here? So I would say since the rain started really about a week ago, really, yeah, relatively, just looking at the calendar here, I'd say about a week ago. I don't know. I would say total rainfall we've had since essentially the rain started, I would say between 7 and 8. That's kind of every rain event being about anywhere between 8/10 and 1.3 inches. For us, at least, there was some guys just north of us, literally just on the north side of 30. Neighbor told us that they got 1.8 inches, where we got 1.3 inches. But for us being so spread out, I mean, I wouldn't say we're very spread out as compared to others. But from down on our Stark County farms, like take for instance, like last night. Last night we got 1.3 inches, or not last night. Sorry, Friday night. Friday night we got 1.3 inches. Neighbor just north of us got 1.8 inches, and over in Stark County, which we checked today, due to some heat that we had yesterday, which was very welcomed. It was like, I don't know, almost 95 degrees yesterday. It was very hot out. and today too. Today was very hot and muggy as well. But I would say due to some evaporation out of the rain gauge over there, it showed 7/10. I wouldn't be surprised if there was about 9/10, if not an inch of rain over there. Neighbor's irrigator was actually flipped over there, which I was surprised. He lost two towers over there. Thankfully, ours was headed the same direction as what his was. Thankfully, we didn't have any issues, but that is the irrigator. If you guys watch that video, that is the irrigator over on Dan's that we do need to call our irrigation dealer, Irrigation Solutions, or Zomatic dealer, and have them come out for to fix that stop on that pivot because I don't know, for the past, I don't know, year and a half, I would say we've been having issues with that. We tried fixing it. We tried bending that push so that it would catch, but we're thinking that it's just a sensor because it actually engaged on the push rod, but we're thinking it's just a sensor on there. So really, that's kind of above us to kind of go out there, change. So basically, we just call them up and say, hey, come out and fix it. We've had that before a lot on the GPS and stuff like that on the pivots over on Shins and also the one down on Grandma's. So that's pretty cool, Brian. So to recap on the purchase, it is a Fast 8318 applicator. The video is out now. Basically, if you don't really see a good description of it right now is because I am still working out all the details as we speak for it right now. Between that and my phone, I pull a lot of a lot of the thumbnails off my phone. So basically, I'm just trying to get that all straightened away while we're doing the stream right now. So what kind of drone do I have? I have two drones, a DJI Mavic 2 Pro and a DJI Phantom 4 Pro, which the Phantom 2, wow. The Mavic 2 Pro is A-OK. For those of you that don't know, I did do a test on it. I cleaned it all up first. I went through and cleaned it all out, and battery was obviously toast. Swapped the battery, cleaned it all up, put new props on it. Actually, no, I didn't put new props on it. I took apart one of the motors because there was like a piece of the prop wedged down in the motor. Took that apart, real simple, just 4 Torx screws, and that comes apart. Goes down in there, clean that all out. And once I got that all cleaned out, got that all put back together, fired it up. Motors and everything sounded great. Put props on it, tried it, works good. So I'm very impressed with that. So if you guys are looking for a good drone, both of those are really good. So I don't know. I think I have it sitting right there. So no, that is all of that over there. Those batteries right there. Those are my Mavic 2 batteries right back over there. That little white stuff right there. Those are the Phantom 4 batteries. Right there is the Phantom 4 controller. Right there is the Mavic 2 smart controller. I do have the original controller as well. The headstrap GoPro and a new GoPro Hero 8. So that is number 4 sitting right there in the box. I still have to set that up. And also right there is the battery case for the Phantom. So I actually have 8 batteries for the Mavic and 12 batteries for the Phantom. So yeah, very expensive setup. I've dumped a lot of money into that. So yeah, being a seed dealer, it is for us just being able to, on a farming standpoint, it is a great supplemental income, like you just said. And also for us being able to be in the industry and basically see both sides of it essentially for us, that is, in my opinion, a kind of a leg up on our operation. Basically, we can see what's coming down in the pipeline, kind of get a better idea on product insights and stuff like that. And also sell, in our opinion, just our opinion, the best product in the industry. You guys can take that for what it's worth, because I know there's, people are going to disagree with me, which I understand. I'm not going to say that this product's going to work on every acre. I mean, we choose the right product for the right acre. Hence, I don't know, that's one of Pioneer's mottos, but I like that one of them. But and also with you from the word go, that's a pretty good one too. To be honest, I'm actually wearing the 2020 kickoff shirt from last year. This year, speaking of kickoff, is actually going to be, it's always held down in Indy. Kickoff is, and actually, due to the coronavirus, that's going to be held virtually. We heard that from our DSM, who is basically our district sales manager for all the sales reps for our territory. And so that's going to be held digitally this year. So that's going to be very different than how it's normally held. So, because it's usually like a 2-day event down there. Well, all honesty, it's like a day event, but when you get down there, it's pretty much a whole 2-day event. But it's a really cool and educational type thing. It used to be more that and more what's coming down in the pipeline and stuff like that, but more now it's more sales training, which sales training's all right, but I'd rather talk about 24 row around corn and germplasm and stuff like that. And I've been going to this since I've been like 10, and so connection is unstable. We are reconnecting. Bear with me, guys. But yeah, so it's stuff like that. It's pretty cool to go see and stuff down at Indy, down at Marriott. So on hay, we have 26 acres. I've talked about this before. We have 26 acres of alfalfa that we put in. 18 over on Linebergers, 5 or 6 over here, and then 3.5 over on Shin. So basically, it's about 26.5 when it's all said and done. The neighbor that we rented to has another neighbor that actually grew up with me. Basically, he graduated the same year I did, same class and everything. Really good friends with him. And him and his grandpa do all basically all of their baling as far as their custom baling goes. So he hires them, and they've been doing all the baling on our ground then, so that we rented to him. So it's, yeah. So they dropped, all of that Thursday and baled it all Friday and got half of that. Basically got all their bales picked up Friday night, and then it started pouring, and then they ended up picking up our bales today, actually. So basically, we have nothing to do with it. It's just a rent check, and they get all the bales and stuff like that. So we just don't even have to farm it at this point. It's nice because they're just high. They're basically just pure blow sand fields, really, really low CEC soils, like virtually nothing. That's basically a lot of what we farm out here. That is why basically all of our ground is a lot of the ground in LaPorte County. Well, let me back up. LaPorte County is the most irrigated county in Indiana. We only have, I would say, about 30% of our ground's irrigated. Would love to have more, but it is what it is right now. So, but yeah, so it's just nice to take those fields completely out of the equation, especially in tight times like this right now. Basically, looking at an economic standpoint, I mean, 130 bushel corn just doesn't pencil. So, especially after you throw your whole nutrient program out there and you look at it, and it's just like 130 bushel corn just isn't penciling out however you configure it. So, but you put it into alfalfa, one, it's like a 7 to 10 year, 15-year cover crop, basically, however long you want to maintain that alfalfa. And you take that out of rotation, and you should have some pretty decent crops on. Not saying you're going to raise 250 bushel corn after you take that out, but 175, 180 bushel corn for 1 year, that'd be pretty nice. But eventually some of those fields will eventually be irrigated. So it's just kind of one of those things where, just putting parcels together and ending up putting an irrigator on some, it just takes time to do. So basically, for now, it's just putting them in alfalfa and benefiting the soil even more. But the dry corner over on Shins is actually out of an irrigated field, so that's just so we don't have to screw around with a dry corner that literally is going to produce half again as much as what the irrigated part is. So basically, it's just trying to bring up that field average and also take out a sand hill that literally, you're just spinning your wheels on and not making any money on. So basically, you're just trying to look at dollars and cents and see, okay, where are you making your most ROI on? So what are your thoughts on a Mavic Air 2? I think that's the one that just came out, I believe. I've been following DJI off and on. I haven't been following them as much as what I normally did a couple of years ago. But Mavic Air 2, I just saw on Facebook yesterday the whole breakdown comparison sheet of the Mavic series. And basically what I feel is it's a almost replacement for the Mavic 2 Pro. Basically a smaller version of it. In my opinion, though, the sensor on the camera is a little bit bigger. Well, on paper it is on spec sheet. But in my opinion, the Mavic 2 Pro is still the best Mavic drone out there. I couldn't believe how rugged it was. I was very surprised on that. But yeah, Mavic Air 2 is a really good drone as well. So I'm not going to steer anybody away from it by any means. So, but yeah, it's a really good drone overall. Yeah, for scouting and taking moderate pictures and stuff like that. So yeah. Skid steers. Yeah, one skid steer for us would be really nice. I'll say, a JCB teleskid. I mean, from what I've seen on Ryan's channel, I'm really impressed with that. And the Welkers, they're quite impressive. I would definitely like one for sure someday. But I'm just surprised on how expensive skid steers are. Skid steers are crazy expensive. I think a JCB teleskid's like $80,000 for a tracked one, brand new. Okay, so let me double check a couple of things on this video. I actually got to add an end screen here and a tags and stuff like that here. Okay, that was weird. My printer just made some awfully weird noises. These printers, I swear, they make some very weird noises just when you're not even using them. Between mine and Dad's, it's weird. So what would you guys say is the best overall brand then for skid steers? Not to say that I'm going to be buying one anytime soon, just because I literally just bought this applicator. But what would you guys say is the best brand overall? Because I debated. Well, actually, we still might see about demoing just to kind of get the ability to use one, because we just some stuff around the bin site here, clean some stuff up, move some stone around out here, and level some stuff up here around the farm, but and over at our house, and also some stuff, over on some other fields, but or renting one. I don't know if there's a renting program or leasing program over. I imagine there is over at Greenmark. I should have asked Matt about that when he came out to check on the applicator, but I was thinking about demoing or trying out or leasing whatever. If they're, depending on my options, there are options on that. I think it's a 333E or 333G or 328E John Deere. I believe those are the two upper size models or larger sized. Reason why I would want a larger one is just the ability to move pro boxes around. I've talked with guys in the past on this, and they definitely got my mic in the way. They recommend getting a larger model, just mainly because moving pro boxes around and stuff like that, you're going to want the extra lift capacity and stuff. And plus, when we get a skid steer, we're going to be doing a boatload of brush work with it, and we're going to be trying to lift stuff that we probably shouldn't be lifting. We're trying to lift. So basically the most amount of lift capacity would be, again, my mic's in the way, on the, I guess you could say monitor number 1, because this is 2 and this is 3, and then I got 4 back here, and I got my iPad laying here doing stuff on right now, and I got my phone right here. My God. Gets overwhelming sometimes. But yeah, so stuff like that. So what would you guys recommend overall? We do have a excavator, or I don't know if you guys all call them excavators. We call them excavators. It's a cat. It's a, oh, what is it? It's a late 80s, early 90s Cat 225 DLC, and has a hydraulic thumb on it. It actually came out of the UP of Michigan, from a just practically there in Canada almost. Came from a county highway department, and it's got, I think, 14,000 hours on it. But it's all mainly idle hours, just from that literally sitting there and running. I think after the first or second year we had it, I wasn't around because I was actually in school that time, but because we got it at like 2013 or 2013, because that was the year we put the irrigators in over on Shins. But we Dad and our hired guy at the time rebuilt the whole track assembly underneath, and basically no issues there, except we do have a broken spring under there, basically the tensioner spring underneath there. It's literally cracked in half. But it's just basically something that isn't majorly like a major serious issue. It's just something that we just got to watch, and then eventually here, when we have a probably, late August or something, when things slow down, we'll take a look at it and see about replacing it, because we do have about a acre and a half of woods over there on Grandma's yet to take out, and we want to kind of get through that, and then worry about taking that spring out, because that spring looks like it's a fairly decent job. So, but I mean, as long as we keep tension on it with the grease gun, it's all right. So, but I really don't want to run the track off. That would not be fun. There's a machine called JCB1CXT. Yeah, I heard, or 1CX. Yeah, 1CX. I don't even know why I question myself on that. But yeah, I saw that online. I've actually watched some videos on that. That looks a little bit more overkill than what we're wanting. Just mainly because I want to be able to get in areas in the shed that we have basically just more maneuverability than what we have with the loader, and basically the 4430 with the loader. That's basically what I would be kind of wanting to replace the or use instead of the or use a skid steer over the loader in the 4430. So to get in those tight places in the shed and stuff like that. So that way we're not riding the clutch constantly on the thing, moving stuff around. So yeah, I'll have to take a look at that, Massey. I haven't really taken a look on JCB's website in a while, but do you have those for sale, Braden? Because actually, honestly, having a stockpile yard at their place for stone, because they actually have some quads and stuff, and they're looking at getting a triaxle and a tandem to do some small work around here, basically in LaPorte, Porter, and Stark County and St. Joe County, basically just doing, I don't know how many mile radius, and doing small jobs, stuff like that, landscaping, and well, not so much landscaping, but more just dumping it for landscaping, or small job sites and stuff like that, driveways and stuff. But they're looking for a payloader. He's been messaging me about that all the time, and I don't know if he's found one yet or not. So, yeah. We tried leasing one or renting one back late December, which that was a big mistake because we didn't think of this, but all the skid steers were basically out on lease due to snow removal contracts. We didn't think about that till we basically called in, and problem was though we were looking for a fairly decent size model. That way we can move logs and brush around. and also have a brush grapple, because half the places you call don't even have a brush grapple for the skid steer. They say go ahead and buy it. Well, dude, we're not looking to buy the skid steer. We're at this time, we're looking to, just lease it, for the, I don't know, 3 month period. But they basically just wanted to sell you a skid steer, which kind of was frustrating. So I don't know. I called like, I think there's like 12 different dealers around here for skid steers. I was literally this close to getting a teleskid though, till the guy screwed me out on a deal up at Weaver Ag up in South Bend. He really screwed me out on that, and that really put the kibosh to ever working with Weaver Ag, in my opinion. I was not at all impressed with Weaver Ag after that deal. So whose birthday it was, back to all of that, because I saw that a bunch of you guys were asking me about whose birthday it was. Dad's birthday was yesterday, so that's half the reason why I did not do a live stream yesterday. I know some of you guys are like, well, why didn't you do a live stream with him? Well, I'm still getting him leaned into this YouTube thing. And yeah, so that is what if I can point to it, my God, the fourth GoPro is actually for, is Dad, because a boatload of you guys last fall were asking me, and actually last spring too, why doesn't Dad do any YouTubing, like say Larson's or Brian's farming videos and stuff like that, like Brian's dad does with him and Chet's dad does with him? Well, mainly because he doesn't really know how to use the GoPro until actually this spring. He figured out how to actually record with it, and I don't know, caught me like dancing on top of the tractor. If you guys watch that video, I didn't think he was recording at the time, but lo and behold, he was. So I just threw that footage in there. But I'm going to try and get him broke in here. I don't know, maybe sometime this summer, kind of wean him into it. To be honest, guys, he's never watched any of these vlogs before, which is very interesting. I'm surprised he doesn't want to take the time to do it. He just flat out doesn't. His mentality on this whole vlogging thing, he doesn't care. And he's more like we were talking, us basically. Let me back up on this whole video thing. Our agronomist came out last, would have been Friday. No, would have been Thursday or Friday last week. They came out Friday they came out, and they're looking at promoting their business. So backing up even more, our soil agronomists, or what I basically call our out of Illinois, their company is Ag Alliance, and they are now they worked with this company called AgriScience up in Michigan, and AgriScience is now partnered with Logan Ag Supply, which is a fertilizer retail outlet, basically Northwest Illinois. There's some satellite dealers scattered throughout Michigan and Indiana, and I know there's a dealer, I believe, in Missouri. I think there's some satellite dealers down there. What I mean by like satellite dealers, basically like a dealer like us that sells seed, but just sells fertilizer. So we're actually contemplating on the idea of actually becoming a satellite dealer for Logan Ag. Not to say that, I mean, the opportunity was offered to us. It's still on the table. We're considering it. Basically, we're just going to continue utilizing the AgriScience products, which are now essentially Logan Ag products. So if we continue to utilize more and more of these every year, which basically we just keep adding to our portfolio every year of products that we use from them, eventually here we'll probably end up becoming a dealer for them. I wouldn't be surprised. In turn, it would help our agronomists, basically Ag Alliance, who are our soil agronomists, or our agronomists, I should just say. I just call them our soil agronomists, but in turn would help them grow their business to help promote the products that they recommend. So It's basically a whole promoting thing. They don't have a website as of right now. They don't have a social media by any means or anything. But their Logan Ag came to them because actually one of the sons, basically one of the agronomists that we work with, he's in this. It's a family group. It's a really, really very, very highly intelligent group. Probably they are the most intelligent people that we've ever met. They are more intelligent than the guys at Purdue. I can tell you that for a fact. Better than Jim Campriato, better than Bob Nielsen by far, tenfold. So they've opened our eyes tremendously. Now, you guys are probably wondering, how are guys in Illinois, that farm with 3 feet of topsoil, teaching guys, about sandy soils up here in Indiana, how to grow corn. Well, it's very interesting talking with this group of guys. Eventually here, I will have some videos with them. Actually, I am going to get some footage from Eric, one of the boys that works. He's, I don't know, I think like mid-30s, I believe he is, which I'll talk about on the filming. They are going to work with Logan Ag. Basically, I'm promoting some stuff because one of them, like I said, one of the boys is working with Logan Ag, and he was asked by Logan Ag to make some agronomic update videos, basically on products that they sell and stuff like that. And so it just so happened. Half the reason why they wanted to come up here was basically to visit with us and talk with get some, basically get a whole plan again, basically go over a whole plan on the applicator, on products and stuff like that, use rates, and we talked to them about stabilizers on stuff like that, like Instinct 2, which after I did some research into that, which I will talk about Instinct 2 and stabilizers later tonight if you guys remind me, and or if I forget, you guys can remind me on that. But anyways, the other reason they came up here was because they wanted to check on corn and do some videos with us. So they are basically the very first Logan Ag YouTube video for agronomic updates and stuff like that will feature us, Dad and I. So this will actually be Dad's actual first time. I wouldn't say first time being on YouTube because, you've seen him on the channel off and on in videos that I film. But this will be, I guess you could say, his big break to fame on Logan Ag's YouTube channel, which it'll be pretty cool. I talked with Eric on this, and he's like, "Well, I hope there's some back scratching here, room for back scratching." I'm like, "By all means." I mean, I've been talking with them talking about them to you guys for quite some time now, and you guys have been wanting to see them in a YouTube video, and that's actually going to come out. I don't know. I have no idea when the video is going to come out, but I'm actually going to get footage from Eric of the day that they were up, which was very, very agronomically and educational for those that are going to watch it. It's going to benefit a lot of you guys that don't know anything on early corn growth development. So it is going to be very interesting and educational for that aspect. So I will have that in a future video whenever I get the footage from Eric. Obviously, I'm going to get the footage after they upload it to Logan Ag's YouTube. So it's, stuff like that. So, but you guys can look forward to stuff like that, future videos with them for sure as they continue to promote their brand more and more. So I'll be talking more on the Logan Ag products and what products we actually use from them, because technically now they're not AgriScience products. They're more Logan Ag now, because I guess Logan Ag and AgriScience kind of combined, I guess you could say, bought out. I don't know. I don't know the whole details on that, but we've been working with them since 2011 or 2013, and we've gotten our eyes open tremendously on stuff like that, on spoon feeding and everything. Really, a lot of the concepts that we're utilizing like fertigating and spoon feeding. I mean, they're nothing new to the guys that utilize this out west, say in Nebraska and Kansas and stuff like that, because I believe, the father grew up, well, this whole family grew up in Kansas, and it's a really, we'll have, like I said, we'll have some videos on this, and it's a really, really interesting group of guys. We love working with them, but that's basically how we got into fertigating and spoon feeding and variable rate applying our fertilizer, or dry fertilizer, and who basically hooked us up with this concept of Y dropping for side dressing, and also doing the 30-inch row beans and stuff like that. So yeah, so this is a lot of the stuff we basically started is because of those guys, and we can account for quite a bit of a yield increase because of them. So what else you guys want to talk about? Yes, I got a haircut. So, and happy Memorial Day. Richter Farms LLC. I just saw your comment on here, and happy early birthday, Ryan. I'm about an hour to hour. Well, you can make technically West Lafayette is technically an hour and 45 minutes from here. You can get there in an hour. Don't ask me, but yeah, you can get there in an hour. Don't ask me how fast I drive down there, but yeah, you can get there in an hour. Or less if you're really pushing it. And I don't know, you catch all the green lights through Monon and Francisville and Brookston, so in Chalmers. Hey, thanks, Ontario. Just going back through the comments here. Yeah, basically, we're going to run this stream however long you guys want to run it. I would say probably until 11, I would assume, but we'll see. We'll just see how questions go and how far off track we go. I will bring stabilizers back up because I know that is something that you guys are going to want to know more about here, especially with us using Y drops. So actually, Farm Boy, I did discuss the alfalfa I would say about 15 minutes ago into the stream. What do I think of New Holland or K-skid steers? To be honest, I've heard, at least from really Dad, Dad thinks New Holland, or has heard that New Holland skid steers are the best on the market. That was actually before I showed him anything on the JCBs. The whole thing with the JCB thing all came about because of Ryan actually doing videos on his channel on it, because I had no clue anything about JCB as far as them making skid steers the way they do. I'm very intrigued with that. Dad was very impressed with that. We've actually looked at him down at the Farm Progress Show and at the National Farm Machinery Show, and he's very impressed with it. The only thing he was concerned about is the amount of leverage on a one boom design skid steer setup like that. He was just concerned about that. Basically, what a lot of people had questions to, or for Ryan, on having that whole boom assembly be on one side of skid steer like that, how much leverage lifting heavier objects that puts on the boom, basically. And I guess Ryan did put it to the test and prove that it can withstand a lot of heavy objects that it can pick up. So that's what basically I was concerned about, with Pro Box moving and stuff like that, and lifting stuff that we probably shouldn't be. So yeah. As far as K-skid steers go, Evan, I've got legit no experience with a K-skid steer. I've looked at one literally in Bain Welker. It was literally inside the store there at La Crosse, and literally just glanced at it. I've not really looked at K-skid steers. New Holland, same. Basically, I've not really looked at them too much. Basically, just down at the National Farm Machinery Show, and that's it. And that was actually this year. So I haven't really looked at them in years past, though. Yeah, definitely Ontario. I honestly have no clue when I would ever venture that way up into Canada, but yeah. I think what Brett AgriScience. I can't remember exactly where they are located up in Michigan. They're what up there by Zealand, isn't it? Somewhere up there, Zealand, Holland area. So they're actually Saugatuck. That's what it was. Couldn't think of the name. Yeah, Saugatuck. But so they're actually hooked up with Farmers Business Network now. Really? To be honest, guys have asked me about Farmers Business Network if we would ever work with them. With us being a Pioneer seed dealer and the programs and stuff like that, I foresee us never working with Farmers Business Network. I really don't agree with their business plan. I mean, some of you guys may not understand why I wouldn't, but basically, they're just trying to commercialize the whole industry as far as streamline it into online, uh, less face to face dealings with products and stuff like that. I personally prefer, and all of our customers that we work with prefer the face to face, hands on dealings. I understand that that's not completely Farmers Business Network's business model as far as, streamlining it, the whole thing. But I mean, basically, to just not beat around the bush on the whole thing. I mean, I can see right through what they're trying to do is eliminate basically a lot of the co-ops and stuff like that. And I've talked with a lot of guys. I mean, I understand that their very first year there was some issues, well, quite a few issues really, with them first trying to figure out their whole business model and stuff like that, and getting products to people and stuff. But I just really personally don't agree with their business model. Neither does Dad, and a lot of our customers really don't agree with them. So. And plus, I'm not really going to get into the seed discussion on that because I have my own opinions on the seed thing. I've heard uh, quite a few stories on the seed and firsthand factual evidence on their seed. I'm not going to discuss any of that because really, to you guys, it might seem all opinionative, even though a lot of it's factual stuff that I would be discussing, and I really don't want to get on that discussion. And this isn't a channel for bashing Farmers Business Network by any means. I'm not. I mean, I understand it's a pretty interesting program when you read into it, but I see how I personally and a lot of guys in our area just don't agree with their business model as far as their commercializing dealings and stuff like that. I mean, personally, I just, I'll say it time and time again, I'd rather have face to face contact and hands on dealings versus, a click and buy Amazon deal. I mean, I understand that's not entirely what their model is, but that's technically what it is. So I'll be one of the few out of the whole YouTube group that's not going to be hooked up with Farmers Business Network. So, Bill, I will get to your question for sure. How's the weather? Wet. We've been getting an inch probably every other day. I would say over the past over a week here, we've had over 8 inches. So we're pretty wet. Crops are looking ugly as far as emergence goes. It is, which I'll probably end up talking about it later tonight, is the compaction issues. I mean, I've talked about not subsoiling in the past, and I was very intrigued about the fact that my grandpa even brought this up about subsoiling, about basically what we're seeing in a lot of our fields now this year is the spots where our custom applicator has dumped lime, which we're going to be talking to him about. Basically, hey, we'd suggest dumping the lime on the filter strip here. If all else, if we got to designate a spot on the filter strip from, going forward, that's totally fine by us. But we're starting to see compaction issues with that, seeing water stand where it's never stand before. But mainly, think about it. I mean, you've had 8 inches of rain in 7 days. You're going to see stuff like that. But you're going to see it on wetter years versus drier years, or more on wetter years and versus drier years. But stuff like that, it just kind of annoys us because we've never really had serious compaction issues like that till we start seeing those issues develop even more with dumping lime in the same spots, which those are just little things that we can alleviate going forward here. But not to say that we're going to quit using lime. I'm just saying that we're going to look at dumping lime in different spots. But the biggest, I feel, what we're seeing the worst show up this year. And, if you guys were asking me what the next purchase is, and I've been kind of putting this on the back burner, is the grain cart. The grain cart with the tire design, their diamond tread tire design, having that circular tire shape, causes the tires to really compact the soil more than what a radial tire does. And we're definitely seeing it more this year. A lot of guys that do conventional tillage around here, one of which a neighbor talks about taking a chisel plow through the ground at 15 to 20 inches deep with a 9RX John Deere that they purchased not too long ago, and dragging it through their fields. Their fields seem to be a lot wetter than ours. I mean, just based on their soil structure that they've caused, basically. Their end rows, they do a lot of subsoiling on, not really subsoiling, mainly just taking a V-ripper out there and just V-ripping them. We do have a V-ripper ourselves. Mainly what we use that for nowadays is taking it over to, say, an area that we're clearing, such as the woods, and we'll take the field cultivator over there, basically to help bring those roots up, those tree roots, and get that all cleaned up mainly. But my grandpa made the comment, which I was very surprised about that he would ever make, is that we should take the V-ripper in those areas and basically start V-ripping all of our end rows. Well, it's very surprising and discouraging to me to hear that from him, because basically when we look around and see neighbors doing that, V-ripping and essentially destroying the soil structure in those end rows, it in turn, we see the compaction even worsening year to year from them doing that. Basically, we want to try and alleviate that and bypass any issues and prevent any issues going forward, and that's why we've been implementing the cover crops even more. Cereal rye, I really don't think is cutting it anymore as far as root penetration. We're going to possibly be looking into, more than likely, we're going to end up looking into hybrid rye. They're growing some, I guess they've got some hybrid rye seed out there now, and we're going to take a look at that. There's also annual ryegrass. Dad has been very hesitant on the annual ryegrass, mainly due to it being supposedly a lot harder to kill or terminate versus cereal rye. So we're going to end up looking into that some more. So, but yeah, V-ripping and subsoiling, that is something I definitely want to stay away from, because I want to, naturally alleviate that compaction. Now, some of you guys just, back to, the V-ripping. I mean, I just disagree with that as a benefit to the soil structure. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, guys go out there and V-rip and in turn just basically worsen that compaction and create the compaction even more by V-ripping. I mean, it just, it doesn't work, guys. So At least for us and our sands. Our black sands will compact and be worse than clay. I kid you not. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. So trust me, we've been there. We've V-ripped before. We've V-ripped the end rows we used to plow. I mean, you know, we've been there before, and that's why we started no-tilling. So, yep. But yeah, back to the crops. Replant. We will have replant at this point going forward. If we did not catch the rain that we caught on Friday, we would have been in okay shape. But surprisingly, our corn is going to hopefully pull through on a lot of the questionable spots that we had. But I would say there seems to be only about, maybe I would say about 5 to 7 acres across everything that we farm. That's in question as far as replant goes. So I did pressure wash the planter. I'm confident enough that we're not going to need it. That we'll just get the 4-row out, and on the field north of 1250 that we have the 30-inch row beans, we'll just patch the wet spots in out there if those beans end up not pulling through, which it's a 50-50 shot out there with that sandy clay. That is a heavily clay sand. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they pull through or not. So, I've heard ryegrass, annual ryegrass instead of the cereal ryegrass. Annual ryegrass, if you get it out of control and you can't control it, that's when you're going to have serious, terrible issues. But I don't know. We've experimented with radishes before in the past. Radishes, we get like a 50-50 response on, not on emergence and stuff like that and growth. It's more on a 50-50 shot that they're going to help alleviate compaction. They seem to do an okay job. In years past, when we used to do mixes and stuff like that for cover crops, they just weren't. Even though they seem to be the savior for compaction and stuff like that, we seem to get a better response in root penetration or ground penetration for opening up those pores in the soil, because that's the main thing. I mean, if you can maintain those wormholes or the earthworm holes, basically the pores in the soil, in your soil structure, that is what's going to increase your overall water filtration and reduce basically water standing on your soils. So, I mean, the other thing that we brought up was how bad is the vertical till causing those wormholes or pores in the soil structure to be raked essentially shut. It's hard to tell, but like I said before, and what we seem to be noticing more is the grain cart seeming to cause the most compaction out there, which makes sense. I mean, you're dragging anywhere between 400 and 1,000 bushel out there at one time. You're going to see compaction from it. Now, in order to reduce that, I mean, you can get tracks on a grain cart. Now, would I want to put tracks on that grain cart? For the amount of money what tracks cost, I would just assume go and buy a track grain cart versus swapping out the tires and putting tracks in our grain cart. Yes, it would be cheaper, but in my opinion, in the long run, it would be cheaper just to go out and buy a different grain cart, because overall, I want to increase our overall efficiency in harvest. And in order to basically do that is to essentially swap out the grain cart, that puzzle piece, and put in a larger grain cart. Well, by putting in a larger grain cart, aren't you increasing your overall compaction issue, Keith? Yes, to an extent, but with having the ability to have tracks on a grain cart, that helps reduce compaction tremendously. So, I don't know. I mean, you guys have your own opinions on it. I mean, that's what we feel. So now seeing that, me talking about this and, having us see the compaction issues firsthand seeming to be worse overall this year than any other year, with the grain cart causing the majority of it, is that going to propel us even more into, or push us even more towards getting a grain cart now as a priority? Yes and no. It just brings up the fact more that we do need to get a grain cart on tracks, but it's not going to change the fact that a grain cart is anywhere between $80 and $130,000 for one on tracks. So I wouldn't say it's a number one priority, and I wouldn't say it's not a priority. But there's a lot of things on the priority list, I would say. If these 30-inch row beans work out really good side dressing, I really want to seriously look into getting a 16 row 30 1770 NT CCS planter for beans. So I mean, like I said before, from like just talking like what farming life just described there. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, especially this year. Guys go out there and take the field cultivator in those wet areas and dry out the soil in those wet areas, basically going right through the water with the field cultivator, and essentially later on turning that soil into essential soup. I mean, it's just sickening to see. I mean, I'm not bashing conventional tillage by any means, because by far conventional tillage emergence on corn and soybeans this year was a lot faster than us. I can tell you why. Also, basically, in our opinion, what we feel the half the reason was with the amount of water that we're seeing. Also, the cover crops not only allow for more water filtration or penetration into your soil, but they also in the spring, if there's not enough heat, will keep your soils wetter than conventionally tilled soils, because with the ground being darker than residue covered soils or fields with cover crop and residue, the sunlight has more sun to soil contact, allowing it to dry on the surface better. So our soils were essentially, half to 3/4 full of water. Not to say that they were flooded, but to say that, the soil was moist already. I mean, it was wet. Everybody was wet coming out of the winter. But the conventionally tilled soils were able to dry the surface quicker than what we were on the surface. So, stuff like that. I mean, that's basically what we noticed with the cover crops. So that is another downfall that we noticed with the cover crops, which we know going into this. I mean, you're going to have issues like that. Now, if we had a warmer spring, a more normal spring, where it wasn't 40 some degrees in April and more like 75, 80 degrees in April, like what it normally is, we wouldn't have an issue. But stuff like that, I mean, it's a gamble. I mean, you don't know. So going forward, are we not going to not no-till? Are we going to not do cover crops? No. I mean, we're going to continue. It's just we got to figure out some of these issues and figure out the correct way of doing it, instead of us feeling that the correct way of doing it is taking a V-ripper through it. No. I mean, that's, in our opinion, that is not the save all quick fix of this issue. You're just, in our opinion, from what we've seen firsthand, is going to compound that issue even more. So, so it's just understanding what's causing your compaction. Tram lines, I know some of you guys might bring that up. With our operation right now, I do not see tram lines as being a benefit as of right now. I mean, yes, I see the benefit. As far as implementing it, though, it's going to take some time in order to even consider implementing that, basically trying to get everything on a tram line. Australia, I actually did a project on this in senior year in ag class. Australia is actually one of the most well-known places in the world to do tram lines. Very interesting over there on how they do their tram lines. Partly why I did that was because I was intrigued on it because of the fact that with us being no-till, compaction is always in the back of our mind on being mindful of where we drive and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so it's stuff like that that's very us being mindful on things, and um, something that's in the back of my mind on whether or not we should be doing tram lines, which yes and no. But like I said, I mean, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get everything, every piece of equipment, or basically every part of the equation set up to do tram lines, because, you know, you got to look at your sprayer, you got to look at your applicator, which essentially our applicator and our planter for corn, and, you know, our side dress applicator now, you know, with it being both 40 foot, not to say our anhydrous applicator wasn't 40 foot, because that was 40, but as well. So, but, you know, with the combine being on a 35-foot grain head and a draper, and a 30-foot corn head, you can't really make tram lines possible with that. And us having a 60-foot sprayer, it kind of, you know, you're not going to be quite on a tram line as easy as what, you know, say an 80-foot or 120-foot would be. So there's a lot of factors that play into tram lines. So, I mean, you got to be thinking long term. And personally, I really don't want to go back to an 8-row after picking with the 12. It's really nice having a 12. And personally, I do not want to go to a 16 because, frankly, I don't know what we would do with that much corn at one time. So, so I agree, Matthew. I mean, basically, from, you know, it's all in soil type from what I've seen in soil structure, and also a lot of it has to do with organic matter too. We are in an area that has very low to. We are literally, our organic matter percentage is anywhere between 0 and 3. 3 is kind of on the high side, if I would even say that. So stuff like that. I mean, it's, like I said, I'm just not a big fan of inline ripping. I really don't see a benefit to it. I mean, like I said, we've seen it firsthand time and time again where it doesn't work in our area with the sands due to them being compacted so very easily. Most guys probably don't understand how sand can compact, but it can compact just as bad, if not worse, than clay. So that's why we got to be very mindful of our compaction issues that we have, because if we don't alleviate them, then they're just going to compound even worse. I mean, it's the same for everybody else. You know, if you have compaction, you know, you got to stay on top of it. Otherwise it's going to get worse. So, but yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that, but I guess that's enough with compaction, because I can sit here and talk about, you know, how, you know, all like issues like that and talking about neighbors and stuff, which I really don't want to. So, as far as a grain cart goes, Evan, which one I would consider? Well, Brent, Kilbros, and Undenfirth and J&M are essentially all under one umbrella, which is Undenfirth. Personally, what I've heard from talking with guys in the Brent, I think it's called equalizer tracks. I've heard to stay away from the equalizer tracks just due to their bogey wheel bearing design. I've heard that you definitely want to stay away from that due to the poor design on that. But Jacob, I'll get to your comment on that too, because that kind of leads into the radishes. But the Elmers, I'm a very big fan of Elmers. I was actually a diehard Kinsey fan. I still am. I'm very happy with our Kinsey 840. But I am a very, very big fan of the Elmers now. The Elmers, if they're, you know, was a better. I honestly don't know if Bain Welker's a dealer or not. At one point on their website it says Bain Welker's a dealer here in La Crosse, and then at one point it says they're not. Bane Welker actually contacted me directly, which I had no clue. I didn't even talk to him about this before. They actually wanted to demo me a grain cart last fall, a Kinsey or a Elmer's 1,300 bushel grain cart, and that completely fell through on their part. I've never even heard back from the guy since then, so I have no clue what in the world happened with that. So I don't know. That was very disappointing to not get the option to do that, but that's on Bane Welker's fault. So I don't know. But I'm all game for a Kinsey 1305 or 1300, if not like a 1500. I don't know if they make like a 1505. Personally, like a 13 or 1600 bushel grain cart, that would be nice, just to kind of match the efficiency with the combine as far as dumps go. Yes, I understand, you could have more compaction with more bushels out there, but like I said, tracks are going to help spread that weight out there on the top of the ground. So henceforth reducing your overall footprint on the soil versus what a radial tire or a diamond tread tire design like what we have on our Kinsey 840 is going to do. So, I mean, we even talked, my grandpa brought up, he's like, well, why don't we put like, massive floaters or like LSWs on it? I'm like, heck, I don't know. We could put 1250s on it, like what we have on the combine. I mean, honestly, it's the same bolt pattern. Just get a bolt right up to it. But like I said, I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know. There's a neighbor that has a big A just sitting there that we could possibly buy, and I don't know, put the big A, put floater tires on it. But I don't know. It's Alex Rush Snapchatting me. But I mean, I don't know. It's stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of things in the back of my mind on, a grain cart, planter, sprayer, draper. Which a draper, I mean, that's kind of already. I can't say it's a done deal because obviously we put that deal on hold due to how the market's doing and everything. I mean, that was probably a really good idea on our part to do that, but yeah. So talking on turnips and stuff like that, I mean, I've never experimented with it, but it might be something to look forward to in the future or look into more in the future. I don't know. Personally, what I've heard overall between what do you say, beets / turnips. Personally, between those and a radish, I've heard the radish are the best overall just due to the amount of growth underground that they have. We've had radishes, I kid you not, like I would say between 4 and 5 feet. It's unbelievable what they will do. But that's if you get a good stand and good emergence with them and good growth. So, and depending on your winter. So, see, the other thing there is farming life. We're not out in the mud with our sands. We can take a 2-inch rain in the fall and be out in the ground, be out cutting beans within 2 days. That's the benefits of having sand and also no-tilling. We can get out on our fields a little bit sooner than what other guys can. So, and plus, I don't know, tune the 8530 also and throw duals on the front. So, but like I said, we're not mud. We've in years past before my time, we farm probably the wettest soils in LaPorte County and southern LaPorte County, and we've had our fill of mud. Put it this way: when we've put triples on the 8820 before, in the stuff Dad would tell me that we've done before, I wish I was around then to do YouTube videos on. I mean, it's some of the stuff we did was pretty wild, put it that way. So, yeah. So back to stabilizers, which I said I would get to on nitrogen, and getting back to Bill's question on concerned about volatilization / evaporation on nitrogen if we don't get any rain. Give me 1 second here. I've got like 5 people messaging me on my phone. Oh, geez. Uh, but yeah, stabilizers. Um, N-serve is more of an anhydrous, strictly more anhydrous. I believe it's what anhydrous and manure. I believe manure also stabilizer. Instinct 2. Now, we talked with our agronomist, and now, granted, he, was going to check on this stuff for us. We brought up Instinct 2, or actually, Instinct 2 was discussed just because we knew, we were talking the brands or the names of stabilizers out there. And basically, one of them was Instinct 2 that we brought up, or Instinct. Both Instinct and Instinct 2 are essentially not quite the same, but Instinct 2 has a little bit more different active ingredients in it. But, anyways, Instinct 2 is more of a stabilizer below ground. Really, Agritane is the. There's also Nitrosphere. I think it's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I believe it's Nitrosphere or Nitrosphere. Why did I just say the exact same thing? It sounded different in my head when I was going to say it the second time, but I think it's called Nitrosphere. I don't know, and I mean, but anyways, yeah, I'm right. Yeah. But from what I've heard on that product, I believe is just similar to Instinct 2. And from what I've heard on that, that's basically like a snake oil type stabilizer. You're going to get zero benefit out of that. Instinct 2, some guys I've read online tried to use it for Y drops, and that doesn't obviously work because it's not a stabilizer meant to. Nitrosphere, yeah, Caseman. But that stabilizer is obviously not meant for surface applied nitrogen. It's meant for uh, below ground applied nitrogen. So basically, if you were knifing in any UAN products, so 28 or 32, you're going to get stabilization there benefits. So but Agritane, I believe, has three different products. As far as stabilization goes, is for Agritane Plus, Agritane Ultra, and Agritane Dry Max. Agritane Plus is basically like an N-serve or Instinct. No, sorry. Agritane Plus is for N-serve, or basically like an N-serve. Agritane Dry Max is basically like a dry applied or any dry fertilizer, basically like for your urea. And then basically also, or what am I'm reading the comments at the same time, guys. Sorry. Then Agritane Ultra is your UAN stabilizer. So if you were to apply that in the ground or on the surface. Now, I did some research because I knew Corteva would be coming out with some stuff like that because I believe Agritane is Koch. I believe that's how you see it. Koch, Koch, or Koch. I don't know. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. Koch or Koch Agribusiness, I believe it is. Agritane. Let me double check on that for you guys. But Koch Agronomic, Koch or Koch Agronomic Services, that is their product, Agritane, the Agritane nitrogen stabilizer. And I was looking on Corteva because I was pretty positive Corteva came out with a product not last year. It's called Pinnit Max, Pinnit, I believe, Pinnit Max, all one word, but the P and the M capitalized. And basically, that is Agritane and N-serve supposedly combined. So basically, like taking Agritane Ultra and combining it with N-serve somehow, so you get like a really good below ground stabilization, and you get a really good above ground stabilization. Problem is, though, there's hardly any data on it, and I can't hardly find anything on it to begin with, even on Corteva's website. So I don't know. But I imagine we're going to end up doing or using Agritane unless we can find anything on this Pennant Max, because I guess this Pennant Max was for sale starting last spring. I want to say spring of 2019, because they came out with it in 2018. I think sales in the US started spring of 2019, and going forward, they were going to roll it out in other countries. So that is why we are concerned. I mean, basically, we're concerned, we're acknowledging the fact that you could get volatilization, and you can very easily with surface applied nitrogen. I mean, surface applied liquid fertilizer is a huge gamble on basically applying it on the surface. I mean, you get volatilization very easily if you don't catch a rain. So where and how would I go about using the stabilizers? Well, basically, all in our irrigated fields, it's real simple to make it rain. Turn the irrigator on after we go through the field. But on our dryland fields, that is where I feel stabilizers are going to play a huge role on. Basically, we're just going to have to look at the weather forecast and say, okay, if we're going to be applying 28, say on June 1st, which we're not, but say if we're going to go out there and apply side dress out there on June 1st over the river, and it's not going to rain until, say, on 10 day, it's not going to rain until the 10th, we're going to put a stabilizer out there. Now, if it's not going to rain until the 3rd in the morning, or say on the 2nd in the afternoon, we're not going to put a stabilizer with it. But I guess also that also depends on the price on the stabilizers. I've heard stabilizers are very expensive, even though it's a low use rate product. I believe the rate for Agritane is 0.75 quart per ton. I want to say 3/4 of a quart, I want to say. I'm going to look that up just to double check with you guys on that rate. Agritane, no, sorry, 1.5, no. 1.5 quarts per ton. I was thinking of Pennant Max. So it is 1.5 quarts per ton on UAN products. So, no, wait. Maybe I was right. Hold on. Hold that thought. They use Agritane on wheat. That's interesting. I'm on their website right now, and it shows a 20 plus bushel yield gain from using Agritane on corn. 510 pounds per acre gain on rice. Huh. They use it on pretty much everything. That's interesting. Okay, right here. Agritane Ultra. On urea, it's 3 quarts per ton. On UAN products, okay, so it's on UAN products, it is a 1.5 quarts per ton. So I must have been thinking of Pennant Max, because I know Pennant Max is a lot lower use rate than what Agritane is. So our dealer actually wanted to sell us a fast applicator with the colders on it, and basically have us choose either the knife or direct inject option, and then sell us the Y drops on top of that. That way, we would put the Y drops on, or have them put the Y drops on, and then put the colders on if we did not like this. But we're confident enough. And plus, we've talked with our agronomists on this. They have 2 other guys that they're working with. One's over in Rockford, Illinois, and the other is, whereabouts is he? I think he's in Illinois also, and I think he's right there by the Mississippi River doing this as well, Y dropping, and they're Y dropping beans as well. That's kind of how they started Y dropping beans, both of them within a year of each other, and started 3 years ago. So they don't. I don't think they don't. I don't think they know each other, but they've heard of each other more than likely through the agronomist. So, but that's why we got into the wide dropping idea from them. Our agronomist recommended it, and plus that's where the 30-inch row bean design idea came about. So. But yeah, there's opinions out there on which is better. We're gonna definitely put this to the test and basically dive completely in on the deep side on this and see what kind of results we can see. I mean, this is a huge gamble on my part because this is a complete purchase, 100% done by me. So if it doesn't work, it's on me. But if it does work, it's really good. So. But yeah. I have talked to just reading the comments coming in, guys, but I have talked to a guy. Well, I've talked to three different guys on the wide dropping idea. Mostly, well, half on the wide drop idea and half on using stabilizers with the wide drops, and they're all using wide drops on their side dress applicators. One actually has a colder design applicator, and then they also run a wide drop side dress applicator, both at the same time, just to cover more acres. And they went to the wide drop design on the second applicator just to experiment with it. And they said more than likely within a year they're going to be swapping out the colders and putting on wide drops. Now they're running very, very similar soil types to us, and he was talking anywhere between a 15 and 20 bushel gain. And I'm not BSing you guys. I mean, he was straight up with me, and I'm straight up with you guys in the videos. So he was talking anywhere between a 15 and 20 bushel gain by switching from the colders to the wide drops. Now, granted, they're in the same soil types as what we are out in Nebraska, in the high sands, or what we call below sands with low CDCs. So, and they're all on their farm they're 100% irrigated. So, but for us, we're only about 30%. So, but that's what he's seen. I mean, it's hard to tell what we're going to see, even though we're on the same soil type. But they use stabilizers just to have that satisfaction of knowing that there is a stabilizer out there. Now, with us running thiazole with our 28 on the corn, or 32, because really we're going to run 28 until we're out of 28 here in the tank, and then we're going to switch to 32. So with us running thiazole with the corn, technically thiazole or ammonium thiosulfate acts as a stabilizer in itself, because a stabilizer is essentially killing the bacteria around where you place that fertilizer. And thiazole does the exact same thing. Now, granted, it is probably not going to last as long as what a stabilizer will, but with it acting as a stabilizer, essentially it acts almost as like a buffer compared to like what a stabilizer will. So it's not going to probably last as long, but at least it gives you something there. As far as how long it will last, I have no idea, because like I said, this is our first year doing this. So it'll be really interesting to see on this. Now, granted, we're not going to have any side-by-side yield data with the anhydrous applicator and the wide drop rig. Why? Well, because mainly we really, I hate to say this, we don't want to get half the shed out in order to get the applicator out, because we got to move half the shed out in order to get the applicator even out. And that's just kind of us. From your guys' standpoint, that sounds lazy, but my second point there on not using the applicator our anhydrous applicator this year to do some trials with it alongside it is because with us running thiazole and micros on our corn, it's really not going to be a fair comparison. So with anhydrous already going to be set up as on a unfair advantage basically to the liquid applicator with the Y drops, it's not really worth our time to even try and do a comparison there, just due to the added nutrients that we're putting out there versus that what we can't put out there with our anhydrous applicator. So it's kind of really not worth the time comparing them. Now, if we were just running straight 28 or 32, that would be something to compare. But with us running thiazole and micros, and it just wouldn't really pan out correctly. So I mean that's our reasoning behind it. It's not just us being lazy and not wanting to get the applicator out. It's just flat out we understand that it's not a fair side-by-side comparison, and we want to be straight up on our comparisons. So that way we understand what kind of yield benefit we're seeing. So it's like going back to the in-furrow. We actually shut off this year again some spots out there. We still ran starter, but we shut off some in-furrow spots out there in the beans. That way we can see, okay, is it what is causing the yield response that we're going to be seeing this fall? Is it the combination of the in-furrow and the starter, or are we just seeing a big yield response just from using the starter? Stuff like that. I mean, that way we understand what we're seeing, I mean, that because not to say that we're going to get a planter this next year for beans, but we want to be able to basically get the most amount of data that we can within 1 year, and also try and continue going forward and basically take that data and go forward with it in the next year and carry on with this. I mean, if 30 intro beans, like I said, work out, I mean, we're going to seriously look into doing more of them. So I mean, everybody has their own opinions on what's better, the knife versus the Y drop. But in my opinion, it's all based on rainfall events or water events. So it'll be really interesting. I'm very, very excited about it. And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to side dress. So just going back through the comments here, guys. I know it's past 11 o'clock right now. We'll probably run this till about 11:15, 11:30, just depending on what comments you guys post here. So we'll kind of start to go on that downhill slide here and kind of bring it all in again. What do I think of Takeuchi? I think that's how you pronounce it, Massey. I don't know if you're still in here. Takeuchi, I believe, if I'm correct in pronouncing that. That's actually one of the skid steers I was trying to rent for working in the woods this year, and that actually fell through also. The guy screwed me over on that deal as well. But one of the last deals I was trying to make on one, he was really straight up and honest with me. I was really appreciative of the guy with that. But that was mainly when we figured out that a lot of them were on snow contracts. So that's why we couldn't get a skid steer. So if we were to book one now for next spring or for this winter, or say like this summer and book one, I mean, it would work out better, but I'm hoping by then we'll have the woods out sometime early this winter, if not possibly late this summer. So okay, just trying to make sure I haven't missed anybody's comments on here and questions. Opinion on effect of microingredient addition to wheat acres. So basically talking about micronutrients added to wheat. We actually experimented with that last year. until I was actually really excited about it, and so was Dad, because we actually did some pelletized gypsum out there with some micronutrients out there. And we saw, from what we saw, a pretty distinctive coloration response. The wheat was tremendously greener in that spot. Head seemed to be a lot bigger. So we took that fact that it was going to yield better until we had the instance where um, the wheat flat out did not produce any seed. Essentially, I mean, it did not go to grain, and we're gonna we're gonna peg it on right now and continue to peg it on until, I mean, going forward. I mean, there's really no. It was just, it was such a screwed up situation. I mean, the only thing we can think of at this point is that it froze, but I don't know. There's something weird going on out in that field, it seems like. So what but yeah, going back to micros, we did try some manganese this year again on the wheat. I did discuss that in a couple of my videos. We did not see any yield or any response from that. We think it might be some herbicide carryover, possibly. Possibly, we're not entirely sure on that, unless they're just spots that they froze. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But yeah, I'm all for using micronutrients on the wheat. Am I going to? I'm really not looking forward to trying to grow wheat anymore, though. We're going to look into doing rye, like I discussed in previous streams, though, for rye cover crop seeds. So mainly boron is going to be one of the main ones that we're going to be looking at, because we're seeming to be deficient in boron very easily in our low CEC soils and stuff like that, are highly erodible sands. So it seems like boron is one of the big ones that we're going to be concentrating on. So at least for side dressing. Zinc is also in our micronutrient mix. I believe there's some, I don't think copper's in there. We have some humic acid in our infurrow as well. So, well, it looks like we will run this till about 11:20. You guys are kind of petered out here on the comments, but we'll give it about 5 more minutes here, kind of bring it all in, wind it down. And as far as what the next live stream will be, next live stream will be next Sunday or Monday. We'll just have to play by ear on that and see down in the comments. So I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted on the community tab with that. And next video, it's really hard to tell just because mainly we really can't do anything. We're kind of in a period where we've got corn literally just getting into V1, V2. And I've honestly can't remember a time where we're not side dressing right after planting. Like literally, I've always remembered that we've had corn almost too tall to side dress by the time we get done planting, and we're pulling the 4650 off the planter, and either same day, if not next day, starting to side dress corn. And now we're probably not going to be side dressing till probably at least the not until the second week of June, which is crazy. I honestly can't remember a time that we've had this amount of time, or this amount of time period, that we're not side dressing. I mean, literally, I've always remembered that. So, but bizarre. It's just crazy weather this year. As far as a farm tour goes, Evan, funny thing, I actually have a farm tour up on YouTube, part 1 and part 2. But I'm actually going to redo those. I'm going to keep them up on YouTube, but I'm actually going to redo those and do a breakdown video of, say, okay, if a tour of the bin site, because a lot of you guys are very, very intrigued on our whole bin site setup over there here at the farm. And I've done an office tour for you guys. As far as a shop tour goes, I mean, the shop it's exciting. It's pretty interesting to a lot of you guys, but I'm not sure if I'm really going to do a shop tour on there. I'll kind of just maybe redo a broad farm tour and kind of play that into that. But I will be doing an equipment tour sometime this summer. I know I've been promising you guys that for quite some time now. But I will seriously put in some effort and do an equipment tour for you guys sometime this summer. Probably, I would say around July 4th. I will try and do that, even though that's kind of cutting right in the wheat, like smack dab right in the middle of wheat cutting time. Typically for a normal year, I mean, seems to be to us that we're about a month behind as far as weather goes. So it's hard to tell when in the world wheat's actually going to come off. We literally, Dad actually went around the night this evening and checked the wheat, and he called and told me that the wheat's all headed out for the most part. So because we were trying to figure out fungicide timing applications, and it sounds like Dad and I discussed it, and Thursday's out of the question because Thursday and Friday they're talking rain again. There's actually a chance for tomorrow and Wednesday. Wednesday's actually talking 60% chance, so it's hard to tell on that. But from the way it sounds like it's not going to be till the evening. But we're going to shoot for Wednesday on the fungicide on the wheat. So because our sandier field over there that's non-irrigated is actually just about, I would say about 65% headed, he said. So we're going to give that an extra day to head out and hit the fungicide on it Wednesday. So man, well, I guess we're going to go ahead and end this stream here at 11:20. Thank you guys for watching as always. I'm going to go ahead and I got about a few things left here on this video yet to fix and get out to you guys. And so I will get that fixed for you guys. And you guys can, if you guys haven't watched that already, I would highly recommend going and checking that out because that's actually a pretty cool video and talks more on the applicator, and you guys can actually see the applicator in person. That way you guys know what I'm actually talking about in this live stream if you haven't checked it out already. Or don't follow me on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and have seen the pictures of it, because this has actually been here for almost a week, and pretty much I'm just going to be playing with it this week more and getting more stuff set up on it. I'm actually going to order a cab cam for it, which I'll discuss in a future video why, which I should order tonight still. I was going to order it tonight, but it completely slipped my mind. I don't know. I'll have to write it down and order it tomorrow. If not, I'll look it up on my phone and order it tonight. Amanda, what in the world do you want me to print? I don't know. Amanda texted me and she wants me to print some stuff for her. I can do that. Well, like I said, next live stream Sunday, and I will catch you guys. It's hard to tell, like I said, in the next video, probably later this week sometime. Videos are kind of be up in the air, really, just because of the weather. And kind of we're on a slow period right now because we've never really had this kind of a period like this where we're not side dressing right after planting. So, I guess with that, thank you guys for watching as always. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like the stream. And I'll keep you guys posted in the community tab. Like I said, be sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content. And yeah, Amanda had a Zoom 4-H meeting. What was it? Last day of school, I think it was, right, Evan? So at 6 o'clock. I think that's when it was. So. But yeah, thank you guys for watching as always. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to live streams. Let me know in the comments down below after this stream is up what you guys think of this stream. And if you guys want to continue seeing more of these streams, I forgot to do it this week, but I will have a discussion board, question board for the next live stream starting Saturday night, Sunday night, or Monday night, one of the two, or one of the three, sorry. And yeah, so like I said, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video / live stream. Again, thanks.